Irene Mortgage Kirkcaldy, Claudette Colville, Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy. You know who those people are? Do you know who those two ladies are? They were Rosa Parks before there was a Rosa Parks. That's right. Sometimes what history does is it causes you to think that it took one person to change the narrative. You know what? We were never meant to be small. Black people have never been afraid of being free. Said that slavery was a choice. Oppression has never been a choice to a brave people. Oppression has never been a choice to a brave people. Let me do my best Umar Johnson impersonation. Let me say it 3 times. Oppression has never been a thing. Never been a thing to free people. Never been a thing. All right? True people of nobility, never allow themselves to be oppressed. It's never a choice. Oppression has never been a choice to a noble people. So, in our fading moments of Black history, let's talk about these 3 women. Rosa Parks, Claudette Colville. Claudette Colville to me was the bravest of the 3 of them, and Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy, if I say her name properly, Kirkcaldy. Rosa, we know Rosa Parks' story. We don't need to get into that. But Claudette Colville, she refused to get up in Alabama, and Kirkcaldy refused to get up in Virginia. Kirkcaldy was the first of the 3, but let's talk about Claudette Colville first. Claudette Colville was a 15-year-old girl. She was a 15-year-old girl, and she said, I paid my fare, and I'm not getting up. We were never meant to be small. Hey, we were never meant to be small. She's 15 years old. Claudette Colville, look her up. I believe, what year did she refuse to get up? She did it before Rosa. Rosa did it in the 60s. Claudette Colville, I think, did it in 1955. And I believe Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy did it in 1944. But I'm gonna focus on the 2 latter. But this 15-year-old girl said, I paid my fare, I'm not getting up. In the 50s, I paid my fare, I'm not getting up. We were never meant to be small. We were never meant to be small. If a movement doesn't hit the young, it's not a movement at all. This is why hip-hop became such a powerful movement. It started with the young, right? Do you know Adolf Hitler? He was a youth leader, crazy enough. Every powerful movement starts with the young. John the Baptist was a teenager. He was a teenager when he joined the sect of the Nazarene. Every great movement starts with the young. You've got to captivate the minds of the young. You've got to radicalize the minds of the young. These Muslim terrorists, they went over there into Europe and they radicalized white kids. That's right, they radicalized white kids. Most of those terrorists that were happening in, when was it? The 2010s and on, they were white radicalized kids that were radicalized by Islam. They were capturing the minds of the youth. Once you capture those young people's minds, I'm telling you, boy, you got a force to be reckoned with for decades to come. Decades to come. Claudette Colville, let her name be known. She stood up and said, I paid my fare, and I'm not getting up. We were never meant to be small. Hey, imagine that young 15-year-old brave Black girl. She used to wear glasses like me too. She had these little black spectacles. They got a picture of her. Pretty girl too. Pretty dark-skinned girl. It's a black and white picture, so you can't tell. But she looks to me like, she looks like Ashley from The Fresh Prince a little bit. If you want to get a vision in your mind. But she basically said, I'm not getting up. And she didn't just stop there. She was arrested. She was arrested. But later on, she actually testified in court to overturn segregation in Alabama. Fantastic. But Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy, her story is a little bit different. Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy in Virginia, she was the first in the 40s. She said, "I'm not getting out." They arrested her and they convicted her. She didn't stop. She went and appealed the decision. Went all the way to the Supreme Court to appeal the decision of the lower court and the state court, and she won. And look at America. The state courts, or the state of Virginia, could care less about what the Supreme Court said. They never overturned her conviction in the state. Look at justice. Let me tell you something, man. If justice don't look like you, there's no justice at all. Can I say it again in my best Umar Johnson voice? If justice don't look like you, there ain't no justice at all. That's why they have this concept in the courts that you have to be judged by your peers. Your peers. You know why it says that? They say that because if justice don't look like you, there's no justice at all. And because the state of Virginia is what it was and what it is, I don't let these racists off the hook, you know. I don't let racists off the hook. I don't let them off the hook. I'm glad you got a conscience now, and it's you know, the same people that are so conscious about being racially sensitive are the same people that are conscious about being sensitive to individuals who have gender fluidity and people who want to you know, men who want to participate in girl sports, and they're the same liberal nutcases that are basically operating. They're not operating out of a sense of actually moral fortitude. It's just that the fad is shifted. The fad is shifted, so it's like, oh yeah, we got to accept everything now. It's not that their morality has changed. They don't have a small voice saying how terrible their grandfather and great grandfather and how terrible their thoughts used to be when they were younger. They haven't had a moral awakening. That's not what it is. It's just stuff's changed, so they got to go with it. It's like those folks who, I forget what they're called. They're Quakers walking around. They walk around with they got their wagons and their the Mennonites, and they got their wagons and their horse-drawn carriages and whatnot. But you bet your bottom dollar they use a calculator, because stuff has changed. Things have changed. When they count their money, I'm sure they use a calculator. I'm sure they use a telephone. You know, it's not that they're, you know, stuff changed. Sometimes stuff changes and people just go with the change. So I don't let racists off the hook. I would let the state of Virginia and all their evil history off the hook. But this young lady, she appealed the decision, found herself in front of the Supreme Court, and fought this thing all the way to the end. They wouldn't give her a chance. They would not relent. And still the state did not listen to the Supreme Court. This is the kind of scenario that you live in, right? I sat there watching the NBA. I haven't even watched the All-Star game, to be honest with you, because I was somewhere and the Wi-Fi was so terrible. I was like, yo, I can't watch a 2-hour game for 5 hours. Pause. It was crazy, but I was like, I'll watch this another time. But one thing I did see was Candace Parker is the first woman, black woman, that's Black history, first woman and first, of course, black woman to be an announcer during the NBA All-Star game. First woman, first black woman. You think to yourself, why do things take this long? When she said that, I said, wow, 2023, and a black woman still hasn't sat down there and had a conversation. Oh, that's all they're really doing. Had a conversation about basketball? A woman or a black woman? Is it because people have this great moral, shame? No, it's just stuff just changes. And to me, history doesn't just teach you what people used to do. History shows you the heart of a people. That's what history does for me. It shows me the ferocity of a people. It shows me the heart of a people. It's not every single culture who has committed genocide on their own, but some have. It's not every single culture that has decided to dehumanize others from other ethnicities, but some have. It's not every culture that has the capacity for great invention and great mental fortitude, but some have. So when you look at some cultures, you can say this is what a culture is. When you look at ancient Egypt, you say, wow, those Egyptians were brilliant people. Look what they built. When you look at ancient Greece, you can say, wow, these people were warlike people. Look what they tried to conquer. That's what they were. So when you look at the anthropology of a people, you can say, hey, this is what these folks are. This is what they are. It's who they are. This is why you can't put all black people in one category. You know that? Can't put all black folks in one category. The West African sold his brother to slavery. Yes, he might not have known it was chattel slavery, but he did it. The East African didn't. The East African did not sell their brother to slavery, as the West African did. All right? The Arab, he was a slaver. He wanted to enslave everything around him. That's who he was. That's what he did. All right? You can look at a people and see what they are, bro. Just look at their history. Look at the nature of a people and see what they are, who they are, what they were. The Roman, right? The European. Rome wasn't just the Italians. Rome was the Spanish, was the French, it was all the Latins. Right? What did they come up with? The most treacherous war machine that has ever been thought about. And what does America want to be? America wants to be Rome. America has forged itself in the image of Rome. Same imagery. And for the most part, the same people. The most savage individuals who've ever walked the earth. Savage. So, at the end of the day, some of you will wake up and some of you won't. Some of you will realize that, certain things in your life are just not going to happen because they have a moral, conscious compass shift. Some things have to be taken. Some things have to be screamed at. Some things have to be, dealt with in court. Some things have to be overthrown. That's just life. And the quicker that we come to that realization of it, I'm a person like this. And this is Del K. Brereton. This is the real spiel to all my Cyclopses in the building. Holler at every one of you. Yes. To the earth, to the wind, to the fire, to the spirit crew. We want to bless you. Adonai Skincare. I hope you had a great Valentine's Day. Jot it down. Don't write it down. Miss Helen's got it. Jotitdown.com. And my boy, go to the community page. Al Katani, the Spice Man. Check him out. But my mindset with this is I am not a person that sits around in the naivete of life. I'm not an idealist. I do have an ideology. But life is ugly and mean sometimes. And sometimes you need some people to be ugly and mean right back to it. Why do you think David Greenblatt, Jonathan Greenblatt, he keeps calling this boy David. I don't know why I want to call him David. Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, why do you think this domestic terrorist has such a penchant for making sure he punishes anyone who says anything about white Judaism, right? Because that's really what he's talking about. He's not talking about Judaism. He's talking about white Judaism. Why is he like that? Because he understands reality, and that, over the course of history, those white Jews, people were butchering them. People were coming for them. People were killing them. People didn't like them. They had behavior types that were oppressive, and they infiltrated financial currencies, and they did some bad stuff. People didn't like them, right? And he realized that, listen, this has been a course of our history that I've got to be part and parcel of protecting us. And so he'll protect any white Judaistic individual, no matter how evil they are. He'll protect them. He will go out of his way to protect them, because in the back of his mind, he says, if I don't protect the least of us, then even the greatest of us will be killed. This is his mindset, right? That's his mindset. Guess what? Sometimes you need to adopt that mindset too, in respect to the black community. Because if we have this mindset where, well, this is why I didn't allow you guys to talk crazy when they had the little basketball girl over there in Russia, right? Well, she's a homosexual and she doesn't believe in our God, and da. They were not persecuting her because she's a homosexual, persecuting her because she was a big old black girl from America. That's why they had her ass locked up over there. This is what I'm saying. You got to defend it all. You got to defend it all, or guess what? It'll creep up the ladder. It'll creep up the ladder. Jonathan Greenblatt, that domestic terrorist, is defending his people no matter what they do. Because stories like Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy should demonstrate to the black community that doesn't matter if you're a 15-year-old girl like Claudette Colville, doesn't matter if you're a respectable woman with a respectable job like Rosa Parks, it doesn't matter if you're just a middle-aged lady just riding the bus, minding your own business like Miss Kirkcaldy. There was a time where black life was worthless in America. In Virginia, in Alabama, in Mississippi, didn't matter where you went, black life was worthless to certain people. And unless you have an idea, a mentality to protect all black life in any way, shape, or form, guess what? They will be knocking on your door soon. And you have to become that militant about it. And black life doesn't just start with when they have an issue. Black life starts with abortion. Black life starts with marrying in your marital lives. It starts with marrying people who come from your same ethnicity, ideology, worldview, religious view. It comes for protecting those things once you're in them. Hateful things about black people. Hateful things about black people is that we don't look at each other's suffering and empathize or sympathize at all. We don't. We don't look at each other's suffering and empathize. We don't look at each other. And when I say each other, I'm not talking about your neighbor. You don't even look at your own husband or wife sometimes. You don't look at your own child and have empathy sometimes. You don't say, you know what, I can't do this because it will dismantle the fabric of our civilization and culture, our union, everything. Do you know how important the black family is to the world? Huh? Just look at the Obamas. Look, imagine if Barack and his wife went through some kind of ugly divorce while they were in office, right? Look, imagine. Sometimes when these pastors and wives, they go through their foolishness and they break up and they start, what are the rest of followers, the people that look to them as leaders? What do? They're like, wow, man, even the pastor and his wife, even the bishop and his wife couldn't make it. Even Barack Obama couldn't make it. Even, that's how we look at it. And it starts to fragment our culture. It affects everything. It affects our music. We start rapping about hopelessness. We start singing about destruction. We just walk around as these zombies of moral depravity. That's what we are. That's what we do to ourselves. when we don't recognize that these moments in time are the time that we were supposed to remember. Remember when we were all targets? Remember when they hated all of us? Remember when even our grandmothers, even our little children, they would brutalize and kill? Remember Emmett Till? We don't go through that process like that Jew does and says, hey, remember when they were murdering all of us? Yes, never let them forget. Batten down the hatches. We don't do that. We think that we've arrived when we get a little shine. You get a gold chain on your neck. You get a silver, you get a little bling on your watch. You've arrived. You a big Negro now. You don't look at our people like that. Come on, man. We need to change it, bro. And you know how you change it? You change it by remembering it. Because some of y'all don't like to remember. I don't want to see no more movies about slavery. I don't want to, 12 Years a Slave, I don't want to watch any of that kind of stuff. I hate it. I don't want to see it anymore. Yeah, you don't want to see it anymore because you've been put to sleep. You've been put to sleep and you think you're equal in America. You think you're equal in North America. No. You just have some liberal whites, some I call them the new age abolitionists, who feel that now, oh, you know what, we should hire blacks. We should have a diversity program. Yes, let's include everybody. Let's include the rainbow people. Let's include the men who want to be women. Let's include the little children who don't want their genitals anymore and they want to be changed from little boys to little girls. Let's include everybody. And they throw you into that big melting pot of muck. But they never look at really what is taking place is that humans in the richness of their ethnicity have been radicalized. They've been put in a position where their entire livelihood's been changed, where you know, black schools. Do we sit down and say, we have African study courses? We'd like to teach all you guys African study courses. Wonderful. In Florida, what do they say? No, it's illegal. and I have black people on the same thing. Well, you know, some of the stuff in that it wasn't very good, Del. Man, listen. You are going to let white folks tell you can't learn about being black? Those African study courses didn't even have the things that we didn't even have African language courses. Every five-year-old black person in North America should say, I'm going to learn Swahili, I'm going to learn Tree, I'm going to learn, even Arabic. I'm going to learn a black indigenous language. That's going to be part of my curriculum. We don't do that. You know why? Because we don't want to remember our past. We just want to continually speaking in the tongue of our oppressor. And we allow them to call us stupid names. You know, oh, this guy's a militant. This guy's a black militant. No, I'm a black nationalist. I saw these little white boys. I'm gonna go around the block one time so I can talk for you a little longer. I saw these white boys crying in the Super Bowl when their Star-Spangled Banner was being played, crying. Because they're what? They're nationalists, right? They're patriots. So am I. But my nation has no flag. And we don't have a song. But I tell you what, we have a history. We have a lot of cemeteries full of the situations the wars that we have fought. Plenty of cemeteries. We weren't wearing a uniform when we fought those wars. Lot of blood. And you don't want to be a nationalist? You don't want to be a patriot? You don't want to cry when your history is being told? I don't know about y'all. When I see Claudette Colville, I look at Claudette Colville, she looks like my children. She looks like my nieces. She looks like little people that I've coached. I was like, wow. When I look at Rosa Parks, I'm like, that looks like Auntie. When I look at Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy, that looks like, you know, little lady in church. That looks like my people. That's what it looks like to me. That looks like my mother. So we need to have a different mentality when it comes to things in respect to us, our history, in respect to our worldview, in respect to what we deserve. We deserve. Listen, there's something, I'll finish with this. It's called the blood price. The blood price. Who taught us the blood price? God taught us the blood price. He said, in the Old Testament, he said, everything is ratified by blood. Everything. And the only price that Christ could possibly pay was a blood price. The blood price purchased your salvation. The blood price. And I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, has the black man and woman paid the blood price in America to have a nation? Oh, they certainly have. We have paid the blood price. And when you've paid the blood price, you're allowed to say, hey, there's some things that I feel I should be entitled to. The white Jew said, give me a nation in 1948. I've paid the blood price. Give me a country. I've paid the blood price. When will the black man and woman scream to the top of their lungs, scream in the Pentagon, scream at the United Nations, scream at the White House, scream at the Red House, scream in Ottawa, and say, I've paid the blood price and I want my nation now. Forget about reparations. Not completely, don't forget about it. Just don't stop there. Reparations are what we actually do want. But this is the reparations that I want. I want the reparations of a nation. Don't give me coins with pictures of white people on it and say, here are your reparations. Give me a nation. I'm never going to stop talking about it. I'm going to answer some of your questions and go. God's grace to all of us. As a guy named Rome, I still stand with you. Shalom, brother. We definitely need that mentality. Philosophically, we aren't qualified to judge anyway, but we are so quick to throw each other away. Amen. Facts. Remember, go along, get along, gang. Yep. We must build and control infrastructure. Absolutely. Our front lines, civil war in the present day. Yep. Well, I'm okay, brother. Hold on. I came to work, so they're gonna be blowing me up now. I'm trying to get out. The same place I tell them, don't let nobody park here. I'm fine. Love, peace, and hair grease. This is Del K. Brereton. This is the real spiel. It's coming to the end of their recognition of the Black History Month. Our Black History Month is every day, right? As long as you walk out of the house looking black, you in Black History Month. All right? So, but their little recognition. I just wanted to give you something. Right? Check out these two young ladies. Like I said, Claudette Colville, Irene Morgan Kirkcaldy. I don't even know if I pronounced that. It looks like Kirk lady, but I say Kirkcaldy. Understand your history. Teach it. Right? God told Joshua, make sure that you teach this law to your children. Teach your children their history. Teach your children their history so that they know who they are. And then they know who to fight. And they know who not to fight. I love everybody. I'll talk to you soon. All right? It's Del K. Brereton, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye-bye.